Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the For Every Beautiful Body YouTube series. Today, I'm joined by Nicole. Nicole is 23 years old, currently lives in Victoria, and is an advocate for neurodiversity awareness. After being diagnosed at a young age, Nicole has learnt to navigate the neurotypical world whilst also going through many challenges and achievements in life. Today, Nicole shares her story and hopes to inspire the next generation on neurodivergent individuals that can dream beyond the spectrum. Hi, Nicole, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you today?
Good, thank you. Thanks so much for taking the time to jump on and share your knowledge and wisdom with all of our guests. So, can you just tell us a little bit more about yourself, your journey, where you come from, where you are now, so that we get a little insight into your life?
Yeah, so as previously mentioned, I'm 23 years old. I live in Victoria. I've lived here my whole life and I've grown up doing all the dancing, singing, acting, and just, yeah, living my best life. I was diagnosed with autism when I was 13 years old, but I never let that stop me from living my best life. And I continue to dream beyond the spectrum and persevere and try new things that I didn't think were very much capable. And to this day now, I'm living my best life. I'm working in my dream industry and I'm just excelling. And I compete in beauty pageants as well. And that's how we've connected. And that's how we both are here today, which is super exciting. And I just live every life to its fullest.
That's amazing.
Mm.
I love that you're spreading your message and using your platform for good and letting girls know that there are no limits to life, no matter what people tell you and how you're diagnosed as well. So it's such a beautiful message that you're spreading. So, can you share a little bit about your journey with mental health and being diagnosed with autism and, kind of take us through the journey and where you might have started and where you are now?
Yeah, when I first got diagnosed, it was a bit weird. I kind of knew it was coming, but also same time I didn't understand, and no one explained to me, "Hey, this is what autism is. This is how you're gonna live with it, and these are some of the barriers you're gonna face." No one explained it. So throughout all of high school, I not only went through the normal challenges that everyone faces growing up and going through all the year levels, but I also had to face neuro being neurodiverse in a neurotypical world, which was super hard, and not a lot of people understood me, and neither did teachers or my own parents. And it was just, yeah, it was a very, very interesting concept to have to go around. And it wasn't very best for my mental health because we experienced different things at different times. But yeah, what I got through it. I persevered, and that's what matters the most. I When I got to about year 10, year 11, year 12, I understood fully. Hey, like I actually understand being autistic. I understand I don't have the same brain set as a neuro person, someone who's neurotypical. But I've learned that that was okay. That was my superpower, and I used that to my advantage. And I ended up dreaming beyond the spectrum.
I love that. No, it's such a important thing. And as you said, like we all go through our own challenges and our own mental health journeys, but it's really looking at the positive side and persevering through it and focusing on the good things, which I think is a beautiful way to think about life in general as well. So was there someone or something or a quote or a piece of advice in particular that really helped you through maybe those low moments or where you didn't really fully understand the, think something that you were going through?
Know there was definitely a moment. I've struggled a lot with body imaging when I was in those late, from year 9 onwards. I know I struggle a lot with like my body changing, and being autistic, I don't like change. So seeing myself change was quite hard. But I remember seeing this one influencer. I don't remember her name, but I remember seeing how like she explained that like no one's gonna know how you look, and they're not gonna care as long as your inner person, your inner self is worthy. And that's what I've taken on board so much with life, because going out a lot of the times, like I'll struggle with finding a good outfit, or, panicking that I'm not doing something like right, I'm not dressed right. But the way I ended up perceiving this throughout life, and it still gets to my brain now, is basically just hey, like, yeah, I may not be the same person I was year nine, but that's okay. That's normal. And I've grown, and that's okay. That's a normal part of life. And I've just taken that on board now. And now I just what I feel is comfortable. I wear what I want to wear, and I don't have to define to what society wears. And the same goes within pageants as well. I don't have to wear what all the other girls are wearing. I can wear what I feel is right, and I don't have to feel scared or worried that I'm not fitting in.
Definitely.
Mm,
I think a big part of our
mm,
beauty standards, and I do
mm,
quote unquote because what
mm,
are beauty standards, right? We all have our
mm,
perception of what they are. And I really think that what you just said will really resonate with a lot of people, but they're not super confident enough to admit what
mm,
you just did is that you can wear what you want and you don't have to be afraid of what other people are going to think about you or what they're wearing. And I think a lot of people think about that in that way and want to be like that, but might not have the courage to admit
mm,
that as well. So thank you for,
mm.
sharing a light on normalizing that as well. So you said that you saw an influencer. Has social media affected your body image and mental well-being and going through your journey in a positive way?
So it's a tough one because for me it kind of helps me, and sometimes I go to social media, I might turn to someone to look to when I'm feeling down, but then I know for other people they have a negative experience, and I know sometimes it's always that hard thing. You see someone online, like one of your friends, and they could be living their best life or doing all this pageant stuff, and you're just thinking I'm not doing enough, and it always gets the best of me in terms of like my mental health, because I'm like, oh, I'm not doing enough. Oh, I'm not good enough. They got an amazing walk, and it's a tough thing. But in terms of when I look for, a bit of positive light and a message or something, someone just to look up to, that's where social media comes so handy, because it's like you've got an open galaxy, open globe essentially of like people to go to. So it's always on and off about if social media is good or not.
Yeah, yeah, it's a hard one, and it's something that we've been speaking a lot about in our interviews of the kind of disadvantages and advantages of it. But I think a really big common denominator that we're coming to about social media is having that connectedness and that it can really affect people's mental health and mental well-being in a positive light because there's so many resources that are out there now that we wouldn't have without social media and the internet. So it's definitely a hard one, but I keep coming back to the saying that social media is a highlight reel, and
Yes.
it's something that I live by, and people will only post what they are confident in posting, and 99% of the time that is only the good things or the things
Yeah.
they're excelling and achieving in. So I think it's a really important message to come back to that, that is not their whole life and their whole reality. And there's so many different things that go on behind the scenes that we
Mm.
also relate to.
No, definitely. Because I know I've had like counselors and stuff, they've reminded me time after time, Nicole, yes, your friend is doing this, but are they actually really enjoying themselves? Are they actually really, you know, doing all these media appearances, or are they secretly stressed deep down and they won't post about it because no one wants to see that side, and they just want to see the pretty side that thinks they're perfectly put together.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. Amazing. So you mentioned a little bit about pageantry and how that's helped you evolve in your journey and also as a human. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey, how that's affected you, how you've grown, what you're doing now, and what's next for you?
Yeah, pageants, it came in my life when I was feeling quite down about myself, feeling quite low. I had not many friends left after high school. I kind of just distanced myself, and I was just kind of wanting a bit of a way to just change up my life and meet new people, meet new friends, and just enjoy, have something new to work towards. And I know pageants definitely helped a lot with that. It helped with my confidence, just my general styling, just the way I present myself now to events and parties, and just in everyday life is so much more different compared to back in 2020 where I kind of held myself back because I was kind of scared or frightened of like, oh, I need to, do this or I can't do that. And pageant pageantry not only helped me with like confidence, but helped me with just everyday skills like curling my hair. I never knew how to do that until I started pageants, and I had to learn because I wasn't going to pay $80 for a hairdresser sometimes. So I had to learn how to do it myself. But it's helped with just general skills, and it gets me outside of my comfort zone and gets me traveling and doing stuff. And yes, you can wait around for a guy to take you, or your best friend to ask, hey, you want to go travel? But I can wait, but there's a pageant around the corner, so I may as well just enter that and enjoy the time with my pageant family.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good excuse. Hey, but yeah, as you said, like there's so many, and I think what's really important to share a light on, especially in Australia, and we have a wide US audience as well, is that
Mm,
pageantry is not what it's perceived to be online 99% of the time.
mm,
And the fact that there is so many life skills to take out of it rather than just walking on stage is something that I think specifically Galaxy and so many other
mm,
rich, kind of Australian pageant systems really take into account is the actual skills and knowledge and life experience you'll gain in that, 1 week, but really the 8 months leading up to it is
mm.
so invaluable and something that you can really take into your everyday life. So tell us a little bit about what's next for you in pageantry, if you can share. Is there something coming up? Is there something that you're working towards? Is there a particular, platform that you have that you're working on? Give us a little bit of an overview.
I was kind of hoping to announce it today, but there has been a little delay.
That's
But
okay. We
the
can wait.
announcement is coming very soon. I'm not going to say too much,
No,
but
that's okay.
I know in terms of my platform, it is growing a lot. So throughout the last pageant season, I was competing for the title of Miss Galaxy Australia, and I had my platform of neurodiversity awareness, but I wanted to build it even more. So we ended up creating Dreams Beyond the Spectrum, which resonates with me so well because throughout my journey, I constantly, from going back to the last question, the pageants helped me share my story and be a guest speaker and a role model in the neurodiverse community. So I ended up building Dreams Beyond the Spectrum to be able to continue sharing my story and inspiring the next generation of neurodivergent pageant queens and kings from around the globe, essentially, and just allowing them to, hear a story and be like, we can actually do that. If Nicole can, so can we. And I look up to so many people, and I learned a lot in pageants where I see people who are also neurodivergent who achieve their dreams, and I just look and I'm like, that's so cool. So they're definitely people I look up to, and now I'm sharing my story, and hopefully I can be that person someday that younger girls would look up and be like, wow, like just inspired to be like her, which is it's kind of teary a bit. I don't know. I never thought I'd be like that in a role model, but I always get that dancing. There's a little kid that'd be like, why aren't doing the dance? And I'm like, oh, you actually watch me. Oh, okay. I thought I was just in my own little world, but okay.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful,
So
yeah. Yeah.
no, no, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh,
That's okay. No, I think it's so beautiful that, you really have that knowledge and self-awareness that you are potentially somebody that people could look up to. And if people are watching this video or they're watching your other interviews or, they're just tapping onto your Instagram or your platform, there's always people watching you. And what I think is really special about your platform and what you advocate for is that you're shedding a positive light on something that can be so scary for people who are going through that. And you're being that person that you potentially needed through that time as well, which is amazing. So now, has self-worth changed for you from potentially when you got diagnosed to now, or going through university or going through schooling or in, your 20s? Like, has self-worth kind of evolved for you, the definition of it?
It definitely has, and I think it's more broadened my experience as I've gotten older. It's more made me understand, okay, self-worth is important to me and it's very much necessary being autistic. It's important that I don't overwork myself and I don't put too much pressure on myself. As I started high school, I always put pressure on myself to be the best so I can be better than my sister, or, the general concept of always being the best. And yes, that's always great, but also it can be very tiring and draining. You're already spending so many hours of your day socializing, being in an environment that's not typically made for a neurodivergent queen or king, and then you have to, keep putting in that energy afterwards. It's not necessary. And self-worth for me is, yes, putting in that energy. And let's say it's for my next pageant adventure, it's putting in that energy, but it's also taking the time to make sure that I'm taking care of myself, whether that's skincare, taking care of my hair, just taking a good night's sleep, not worrying about, I've got to do this or that, blocking out, social media when needed. Yes, I do live off TikTok, but can I eliminate some of that TikTok time?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think it's really important when we're, in high pressure situations, as I also quote unquote high pressure situations, because I feel like it's not necessarily external pressure, but the pressure that we put on ourselves.
Mm,
And I think it's really important to come back to that grounding nature of, what do I love? How can I take care of myself aside from that? And exactly, it could be as simple as doing your skincare overnight, taking a bath, watching your favorite TV show, and taking a detox from social media. There's so many little things in life that we can appreciate to kind of boost our self-care and our self-worth every day. So I think it's really amazing that you said that, because it can be so simple as well.
it, it's so simple, but yeah, it's so effective in the end. Because let's say I get to that next pageant and, well, I didn't take care of my skincare, and then it's like, well, I've got pimples, and it's like I
Yeah,
might feel good about myself, but if I just took those 5 minutes to just take care of myself, it could eliminate just that small little detail. So then I have a stress-free pageant week.
definitely. It is the simple things in life.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, for our last little segment today, is there a particular piece of advice that you would give to somebody going through their own mental health or neurodivergent journey that you might have heard or that you embody to give to that next person?
I know in terms of neurodivergent like quote or message I give out at the end of like any story, I always say to just go for it and just do it. And I always say this because I held back within my first few years of like high school and living my best life, and I never achieved those small things I knew I was capable of. And I always tell everyone to just do it. You don't know what's going to happen. And honestly, I've seen girls win pageant titles and stuff, and it's because they actually just went and did it. And you don't know what they're thinking. You don't know what the judges are thinking. You don't know what the audition panel's thinking. You don't know what the school leadership team's thinking. You don't know. They could love you. They may not. But if you give it a try and you give it your best shot, that's all that matters. And even if you don't say walk away with the crown, that's okay. You just get back up and you try again. You try a different system. You go back and try the same system. And that's what's the beauty of it, is you learn to be resilient and you learn to just keep going no matter what. And yes, you might want to take a break, and that's fine, but you just keep going back at it, you keep working hard, and you keep improving. And in terms of like a mental health quote, I always, I say to, believe in yourself, believe in your own thoughts, and to trust in yourself and do what's best for you. Don't worry about what society's doing, and just, live every moment in the positive way. Think positively, because the minute you start thinking positively, it's just going to eliminate all that negative aura out of your life, and you're just going to start feeling so much better.
Definitely. And yeah, there's two completely different but beautiful pieces of advice, because something that I live by that I really resonated in that first piece is that there's no right time, and if we don't step into something and step out of our comfort zone, and our courage will never grow as people. So I think something that, to sum that all up is just go for it because, you never know what's going to happen at the end of the day. And that's with anything in life. I think it really resonates with pageantry, but I think even if it's, a particular job that you're really wanting and you're really scared to go into the interview, like just go for it. You never know. And there's so
Mm.
many different things that we can apply that to essentially in every pieces of our
Yeah.
life. So yeah, I think they're two amazing bits of advice. Well, thank you so much, Nicole, for jumping on and speaking to me today, and ultimately to all of our guests. I know that it can be hard to share your story, and we appreciate you being vulnerable to know that, not everybody is alone. So before we go though, can you tell everyone where we can find you?
Yeah. So you can follow me on my Instagram handle. So it's Nicole M underscore pageant journey. And through there, you'll be able to see all the updates and exciting announcements coming very soon.
Yay, amazing. We cannot wait to watch the rest of your journey and see what you're going to be putting out there. But thank you again so much for jumping on. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you for having me. I've had so much fun.